Is change finally on the horizon, or is it another fleeting promise? Donald Trump's recent announcement about creating a body to reform the federal government has sparked a mix of intrigue and excitement. The proposed Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, may be misnamed. It's not a government department, but an advisory body set to work alongside the White House. Heading it are Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, two brilliant minds taking on the monumental task of streamlining one of the most expansive and cumbersome bureaucracies in the world. With over 180,000 pages of federal regulations, the case for reform is clear. The federal government has grown far beyond what it once was, and while some see DOGE as a bold step, others view it as an uphill battle. Much of the federal budget, around 60%, is tied up in mandatory spending like Social Security and unemployment insurance. Add to that an $800 billion defense budget, interest payments on the national debt and veterans' benefits, and what remains is a fraction of the budget open to cuts. The scale of reform Musk envisions, including the $2 trillion in reductions he has alluded to, would require drastic changes far beyond what any administration has ever achieved. America's defense sector, often deemed untouchable for political reasons, is a glaring example of inefficiency. The Pentagon, with its multiple overlapping air forces, represents an area in dire need of restructuring. Yet cutting into such deeply rooted institutions has always been politically fraught. Similarly, the Republican Party's decades-long promises to dismantle programs born out of FDR's New Deal have rarely resulted in actual rollbacks. From Eisenhower to Nixon and even Reagan, Republican administrations have expanded government programs rather than dismantled them. The reality is that Americans have consistently voted for a paradox: Republican tax policies combined with Democratic spending levels. This mismatch leaves the government reliant on borrowing, leading to a mounting national debt. Critics argue that the debt is unsustainable, especially with an aging population and rising retirement costs. Yet drastic spending cuts come with their own risks, as evidenced by Europe's austerity measures in the 2010s, which triggered economic slowdowns. The interconnected nature of government spending and the economy makes abrupt cuts dangerous. Your expenditure is someone else's income. Even though the U.S. government is relatively smaller compared to other industrialized nations as a percentage of GDP, it desperately needs reform. Conservatives have long argued for a smaller government, but delivering on this promise has proven elusive. For decades, frustration has simmered among Republican voters who feel betrayed by leaders who campaign on reducing government size but fail to deliver once in power. DOGE represents a chance to finally confront this challenge. Whether it succeeds or falters, it will force a reckoning, not just with inefficiencies in the government, but with the ideological gap between rhetoric and reality. This is more than a policy proposal. It's a test of whether bold reform can cut through decades of inertia and deliver meaningful change to a system that has been resistant to it for far too long. If you found this insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more valuable content. Let's keep the conversation going. Your voice matters.